too.
Welcome everyone to Motor Racing Podcasts. It's me, Don, and Jordan on air today. Jordan, do we skip our startup? Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, I accidentally took the video off, so I gotta find a new a new opening video. Oops. Man, a Monday show. This is different.
Yeah, man, let's get after it. We got a little bit to talk about. You want to hit me with some Indy results?
All right. In case y'all haven't heard, Hailie Deegan is out. Yeah. Got a lot.
Jordan, you're breaking up real bad, bud.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to switch over to my off the computer. Hang on. I gotta switch off this damn thing. Go ahead and talk about some news, and I'll log back in.
We got a couple headlines for you guys on this Monday following race weekend. Very busy weekend of racing with Formula One and Indy in action. We had Xfinity and NASCAR Cup Series and the streets of Chicago at the street course. Man, what a blast that absolutely was. Until I get Jordan back. Indy results, them boys getting after it in Mid-Ohio. I know Jordan had plans to get out there and check out that race, but he was unable to, unfortunately. As far as Mid-Ohio, the Honda Indy 200 on Sunday, July 7th. That was actually right before the Cup race kicked off, which is why, if some of y'all are wondering why NASCAR struggles with their timing, it's not always that NASCAR is just choosing the most inconvenient time to show their races. They've got to work around everybody else's schedule, just like we do in our everyday lives, right? They don't just have free range to throw whatever they want. It's got to be an organized schedule. So, we just got to keep that in mind and maybe lighten up on NASCAR and some of their decision making. Do they have opportunities to be better in some areas? Absolutely. Yes. 1000%. Is it going to be perfect all the time? No, there's going to be hiccups. There's going to be issues. Can't control the weather, guys. I hear people saying move the start time up and you won't have to worry about rain in the afternoon. Well, that's not always true. We got rain here a few days ago all morning long and then sunshine the rest of the day. So rain is going to happen. Let's just kind of ease up on that subject. As far as the start time, NBC had the Indy race at Mid-Ohio on at 1, if I remember correctly, and they're not going to overlap their racing events, right? So we just got to keep in mind, networks are doing the best they can with what they have. They're not just out to get you people just to stir up ruckus. That being said, Pato Award takes the W there at Mid-Ohio. Alex Palou, Scott McLaughlin, Colton Herta, Marcus Ericsson, Alexander Rossi, Christian Lundgaard, Kyle Kirkwood, Christian Rasmussen, Santino Faturi, and Will Power will clean up your top 11. Mid-Ohio always puts on a great race. Not surprised at all to see Pato Award take the dub there. Great Indy race on Sunday. And again, that was overlapping the Cup race, which is why they aren't able to get some of these Cup races going, because they're dealing with IndyCar and NBC2. So, and we'll cover that more later this week. As
finally figured out the issue, Don. I had too many pages running.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll happen, bud. I just finished up with the Indy results. I'm going to jump over to Formula One real quick, and then I'll let you get back on your AM racing news real quick. As far as Formula One,
but that's how you do it, man.
British Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton gets the win in his home country. I think that's his first win in a couple of years, if I remember correctly.
Since 2021.
2021 was his last win, right? Max Verstappen comes in second. No surprise there. Lando Norris, Piastri, Carlos Sainz. From Stewart Haas Racing in 6th position, you got Hülkenberg, Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso, and Albon. And we've got Yuki Tsunoda finishing out the top 10 for Formula One there in the British Grand Prix. Great race all the way around. I caught some of it there towards the end. Really awesome to see Lewis Hamilton back at the top of the podium. That's real big for his, as he gets closer to winding down his career. These wins that happen far and few, they're much more important to these guys.
Oh,
What do you got for AM Racing, bud?
A bunch of bullshit. Anyway, all jokes aside, AM Racing and Hailie Deegan have parted ways this afternoon. Joey Logano raced the car. He got a top 10 finish. But honestly, I feel like there's more to the story for the abrupt end of the partnership with AM Racing. There's a whole bunch of rumors out there, sure, but something is going on with AM Racing and Hailie Deegan. Something's going on with Hailie Deegan because you wouldn't just abruptly pick a driver out of a team in the middle of a season. I mean, she's had a few top 20 finishes this year, so I'm not sure what's going on with AM Racing right now. Something's up.
It's definitely a story that we're going to continue to follow because it's very intriguing that they decided to part ways with Hailie halfway through the season like this, or a little bit past halfway. Joey Logano went ahead and jumped in that 15 car and brought the AM Racing team home 8th at the Xfinity race of the street course in Chicago. So a good finish there to help the team and their confidence a little bit for whatever is going on behind closed doors. Like you said, we won't speculate and we will continue to follow the story as we get updates on it. But as for now, Hailie Deegan is out of the 15 and to be determined on who will take over that ride for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, but I mean, I know I said some words over the weekend that towards AM Racing, and I do take back the words that I said. It has to be a personal. That's Ronda Rousey. What? My best track. My bad.
Good.
Distracted for a second. I have a 911 on, and I just happened to look up, and Ronda Rousey's on it as a firefighter. Anyway, so back with Xfinity. So every year, ever in my life have I had to replace a driver as my favorite during mid-season. It's kind of stupid, to be honest. But let's see. Let's click on this right here. Got my little notes right here. Hailie Deegan, AM Racing part ways. You said what?
I was saying that when you're forced to switch your favorite driver in the middle of a season, it's very it can be very frustrating, and it can be it can almost be sad in a way because you're used to rooting for your driver every weekend, and all of a sudden they're not there on the racetrack.
Yeah.
So that's a tough transition that the Hailie Deegan fans are going through right now, and like I said, we'll continue to follow her story and make sure to update everyone on what's going on there in that racing team.
Yeah, so sticking to it, Hailie Deegan had this to say today on X, formerly known as Twitter. The level of competition in the Xfinity Series is as competitive as it's ever been. Moore, which is the owner of AM Racing, said, AM Racing to field a competitive race team through technical alliance with Stewart-Haas Racing. Aha, there it is. And provide any of our drivers the best opportunity to be successful on track weekend. With that being said, we have had the success on track, and we're hoping for in the first half of the season. When the opportunity to have Joey in the cargo became possibility, we needed to take advantage of the knowledge and feedback that a two-time series champion could provide with our team's growth. So, with their alliances SNHR, with SNHR shutting down, I feel like something has to do with that. But Hailie Deegan had this and had a lot of and hope in taking my step car Xfinity Series. It's something I've been working for years and always dreamt about. Worked hard to prepare for this, and after the team pursued me to drive their car, unfortunately, it has not turned out the way that I expected. There are several reasons several reasons within a race team as to why things do or communication. Communication is the key. But sadly, our goals are no longer aligned. With that being said, myself and M Racing will be parting ways. The only thing I'm focused on is getting back to being competitive. That is all that matters to me. I'm working as quick as possible to find the best opportunities to get back to the track. I'm thankful for the following I have and everyone who supports me. It's truly only me that knows the whole story and what I need to succeed. See you at the track soon. So, question now is, where does Deegan land? Does she land a part-time ride in the truck series for the rest of the season? Does she head back down? That's the next question.
No, I think Haley is probably done for auto racing at the top level. She's probably going to do some local tracks and stuff like that just to keep the rhythm going. But as far as, I mean, somebody might pick her up for a race or two here in the trucks or the ARCA. I wouldn't necessarily count on it. It definitely sounds like there's something going on behind closed doors that we're not entirely informed of, and so I would not be surprised if she got one, but I would not expect her to get much the rest of this, the remainder of the racing season.
Right. But let's talk about VG.
Mr. Shane Van Gisbergen. Man, he put on an absolute clinic. And you know what? If he doesn't fall victim to another racer's accident, and we'll get to that later, but he very well sweeps the weekend, man. I think his car was just that much better than Kyle Larson's this weekend. Even though Kyle Larson did snag the pole, once the race got going, it looked like SVG was just hooked up on a different level. We'll get back to the Cup in a minute, but as far as Xfinity, Shane Van Gisbergen not surprising many people in that venue and taking the win for the Xfinity Series. That makes his third win of the season. That's most among drivers this season. If I got my stats correct, everybody else only has 2 wins. Maybe Corey Heim. Maybe Corey Heim has 3. But I'm sorry, he's trucks. Ignore me. He's trucks. So as far as Xfinity goes, I think Shane now leads all drivers in wins. He's making a lot of noise, and I'm telling y'all, once he gets a solid rhythm down at these oval tracks, he's going to be competing for championships, and he's going to be getting rides and replacing some of these guys in Cup. Bet on it. What do you think of Shane's drive this weekend, Jordan? I may have lost Jordan, but to continue on the Xfinity Series, I mean, it was just absolutely incredible to see this guy and the way he is able to manage any street course, road course, and really he's getting a lot better at these ovals. But man, he is just a master at what he does, whether it be positioning his car to overtake or the way he throttles in and out of the turns so just flawlessly. We did see him scrape the right side of the car at some point, got him a little squirrely, lost a little time, made it right back up like it didn't even happen. The guy is an absolute treat to watch and enjoy. Can't wait to see his career progress in the Xfinity Series and quite possibly the Cup Series here soon. As far as your other Cup guys,
absolutely.
9
so
Cup
with that
guys
being
in this race, for the
should have only been 8.
Jordan.
So with that
Say it
being
again.
said, here is your finishing order for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. All right. We got Shane Van Gisbergen. He is having a hell of a season. Ty Gibbs in
Yeah.
second, Kyle Larson third, Parker Klingerman fourth, the Love Man, Jesse Love in fifth, Connor Mozak sixth, Austin Hill seventh, Joey Logano eighth, not bad though, Justin Allgaier ninth, Austin Green 10th, AJ Allmendinger, the Dinger, the Road Course King 11th, Josh William 12th.
We might have a new road course king taking that title here soon.
Sammy Smith, 13th. Kyle Weatherman. Which title?
Road Course King from Almendinger. That might be somebody else here soon.
Yeah, that's true.
Referring to Shane.
19th, Sam Mayer. We'll get back to Sam Mayer in a minute. Brendan Poole, 29. Ellis, 21st. Sig, 22nd. Matt DiBenedetto, 23rd. Blaine Perkins, 24th. John Hunter Nemechek, 25th. Sheldon Creed, 26th. Amigo Daniel Suarez, 27th. Riley Herbst, 28th. Alex Labby, 29th. The Alfredo Man, Alfredo Sauce, Anthony Alfredo, 30th. Leland Honeyman, 30th. Pardis, 32nd. Sage Kiram, the IndyCar driver, 33rd. Parker Resloff, 34th. Andre Castro, 35th. Josh Bilicki, 36th. Jeremy Clements, 37th. And last place, Chandler Smith. Going back on the whole Sam Mayer thing, the reason why I've gone with Sam Mayer as my driver for the room is he's a wheelman and he can wheel a car. So
Correct.
that puts that in that perspective. So of the finishing of the
right.
Your comments and thoughts on the race from any surprises?
You know, I was actually covering that earlier when I lost you for a minute. The Xfinity race was an absolute blast to watch. Watching Kyle Larson and Shane go back and forth for the first half of that race. If you're a racing purist, you love seeing it. You love seeing guys test each other's limits. They kept their cars incredibly clean every time they passed each other. You even saw Shane Van Gisbergen after he finally stopped what seemed like he was kind of toying with Kyle Larson there after they were done with their back and forth. Shane gives Kyle Larson the little thumbs up out of the window while they're going down the straightaway in the Chicago race course. Just a sign of respect to a NASCAR Cup champion and kind of like a, hey, thank you for the fun racing, you know? So it's a lot of fun to see.
Definitely. And then we had the NASCAR Cup Series at Chicago.
What an event that turned out to be, right?
My goodness. Go ahead and take Chicago, real.
I got you, bud. Chicago Street Course for the Cup Series was an absolute banger. Of course, we had rain kind of step on it a little bit, but, you know, it's NASCAR in the summertime. What more do y'all expect? Rain's always going to play a factor in some of these races, and if you say otherwise, well, I don't know what to tell you. Let's talk about Alex Bowman getting the W on a tire strategy. Alex Bowman gets the win purely on tire strategy. He stays out there on the treaded tires, just enough moisture on the track to keep those tires cool enough to keep him in the lead. But, man, he had some guys on slicks coming, and they were coming in a hurry. Tyler Reddick was one of them. If Tyler Reddick doesn't scrape the wall there with a lap left, he probably gets by Bowman and gets the win there at Chicago. And, man, you want to talk about a win in a Jordan scheme in the city of Chicago? That would have been absolutely epic. Tyler Reddick comes in second. Ty Gibbs, no surprise, third. Joey Hand getting that awesome fourth place finish for Ford and RFK Racing. Yeah, and Michael McDowell.
Hey, if you need a hand, call Joey Hand.
Yeah, right. He's got you covered no matter what. William Byron, 8th. Kyle Busch finally breaks that just ugly streak of DNFs and just miserable racing. He was put through with a top 10. He comes in 9th, finishes 10th. Following that, you got Suarez, Daniel Hemrick, Bubba Wallace, 13th. After he gets by Bowman, we'll get to that later because there's probably points and a fine coming for Bubba here soon. And it's deserved. As a Bubba fan, I'm just going to put that out there right now. It's deserved. You can't be running into people with your belts off. That's silly nonsense.
Nope. And dangerous.
Noah Gragson, 14th. Austin Cindric, 15th. Justin Haley, Zane Smith, Brad Keselowski, Austin Dillon, and Chris Buescher rounds out your top 20. The Cup race, Jordan, talk to me, man. What'd you think?
Well, I barely saw it, but I seen like different highlights and stuff. I thought it was interesting and entertaining. I don't like the fact that it was a timed race because this is not Formula One, but seeing them race in the rain on a freaking busy course, and as a matter of fact, seeing them come up that hill and you see downtown Chicago just moving on as business wise is like literally the coolest freaking thing you can ever see at a NASCAR race.
Absolutely agree. That was really an awesome shot that NBC was giving us there over that little hill with the trains and the subway going by in the background, and along with the city lights and the city traffic too. That was good stuff.
It's like, could you imagine if they was able to race that track like while the sun was going down with the overhead streetlights? Man, that would be so cool to watch. But I'll go ahead and cover the rest of the field. Chase Elliott 21st, who did lose Hooters as a sponsor last week due to the closures of a bunch of Hooters. That was expected. The Melon Man, Josh Chastain 22nd, Joey Logano 23rd, Carson Hocefer 24th, Harrison Burton, who does not have a ride in 2025, 25th.
No
That's our
there.
Taz Gralla 26th, Corey LaJoie 27th, Josh Belief, Eric Jones 20th, Denny Hamlin 30th, Austin Hill 31st, Chase Briscoe 32nd, who recently announced that he was going to Joe Gibbs Racing, into the spoiler alert of Christopher Bell, Martin Truex Jr., who was racing his final street race of his career, Ryan Preece 34th, John Hunter Nemechek 35th, Josh Berry, who will be running the number 15 for AM Racing on Saturday at Pocono, finishes 36th, Christopher Bell 37th, AJ Allmendinger 38th, Kyle Larson 39th, damn. And then Shane Van Gisbergen 40th.
Yeah, Shane
Wow.
got Briscoe there at the start.
Lots of names you didn't.
Yeah, Shane got Briscoe there at the start of stage 2 when it started raining. A lot of those guys actually got in a sense they got wrecked out. Kyle Larson actually wrecked himself out, but man, Josh Berry had a rough day. I think he ended up in the tires at least 4 or 5 times, if I counted correctly. Stuart Haas really as a whole, other than Noah from being in the tires about 10 times last year to no hiccups this week for him, that was really cool to see that improvement from Noah. So congratulations to him, and I think he came in 15th at the end of the day. But yeah, man, as far as the Chicago street race is concerned, I know people have their thoughts on it. I think it's a beautiful venue. I think the course itself puts on some fantastic racing with the design and the 90-degree turns. And don't get fooled, man. These guys are still hitting 140, 145 at the end of these straightaways and still doing 50 through the turns. So that's not easy work by any means. Not to mention it's a very, very closed off streets and courses where they barely fit too wide through some of them. So hats off to NASCAR for doing a great job once again, even with the weather, playing spoiler for some of us, but just great racing all the way around. The drivers handled the transitions very well. And one thing that we do need to cover is Bubba Wallace and probably getting a fine and suspension. I don't think that's going to be something that slips through NASCAR's cracks. And I'm sure Tuesday morning we'll hear more about what that penalty will be for hitting Alex Bowman post-race on the cool-down lap. Slams him in the side of the door.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And before we wrap things up today, my opinion on that is, Bubba, the race worse for pull the driver aside and talk to him like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and whip the driver at the end of the race and just completely almost knock him out. But other than that, it might be a fine. Yeah,
everybody handles that confrontation.
William Byron said in the post race. True.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
You're fine. But don't find Bubba because they apologized. But we'll find out what the NASCAR stewards say tomorrow morning.
Right. And like I was saying earlier in the show, I'm a diehard Bubba fan. I love watching him race. I love watching him compete, but I do not agree with the slamming of the door post on the cool down lap. These guys go through a lot of adrenaline throughout the course of a race. Bubba felt that he probably had a top 5 car and he was racing that way too. And to be taken out and then watch the person that take you out go and win the race on kind of an upside down tire strategy, I can see why Bubba was as agitated as he ended up at the end of that race. I mean, that's just got to be a slap in the face to watch the person that wrecked you go win. You know what I mean? So not making any excuses for Bubba.
Absolutely.
I do not condone being unsafe on the racetrack. There's no place for it.
Oh, no, there isn't. And our next show, we will talk about the upcoming race weekend, and we'll probably do this on a Saturday night. So we'll cover in that way. We'll probably do this Saturday evening, and then we'll go ahead and already cover what has happened during the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series races on that day. So we're going to do something a little bit different this week, okay? So we'll be back at it again on Saturday to cover the weekend, and then we'll just have one hell of a badass show.
Yes, sir.
But until then, this was a hell of a show, Don. I enjoyed doing this with you, but we need to get Kevin Mann back.
We'll get Kevin going. We'll get him 100%. I know it can't be easy dealing with the medical stuff he's dealing with. So as soon as he gets right, man, we'll be back to our debates and our exchanges, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. But until then, have a wonderful week, and we'll hit it out this weekend.
Y'all be safe, guys. Take care. Thanks for listening.